He was born in Nepal at a time when the country's literacy rate stood at a mere 3%. Since only the upper class had access to education, many families would send one of their sons to be educated in a monastery. To give the child to a monastery was a culturally accepted way of reducing the amount of persons in the household. His family took the opportunity to give him a higher education and sent him to the Rongbuk Monastery in Tibet. He received strict discipline from both teachers and monastic authorities. Scoldings and beatings were normal fare for everyone. Up until age 13, education consisted for the most part of learning to read and write, memorizing prayers and texts, and attending rituals.
And he fled back into his homeland from one side of the Himalayas to the other. He had abandoned that monastery at the age of 13.
2 months after his escape, the Chinese started their Cultural Revolution, destroying more than 6,200 monasteries and other religious buildings in Tibet.
There's a chorta and a few things there and some prayer stones and stuff, and we walked around and looked at it. And I said, Gombu, you probably would have been killed if you had stayed there.
He ended up in Darjeeling, India, and started his prestigious career in mountaineering. He was the youngest expedition member of the first successful summit of Mount Everest in 1953.
Tenzing is great when climb Everest, and Gombu is great. Those are the olden days. They climbed the old-fashioned way, and they're just like the whole world knows about them.
In 1963, he reached the top of Everest, and then again in 1965, becoming the only person to summit twice.
Suddenly we're up there, we had no exit strategy. We hadn't figured out what to do. We wanted that summit so badly that I hadn't even thought of coming back off of it. And that's when it began to get hairy again because we were out of bottled oxygen and we had to get down.
His honors include the Coronation Medal of Queen Elizabeth II, the Hubbard Medal from the National Geographical Society, the Padma Bhushan, which is the highest award given by the Indian government, and the Tiger Badge, which was instituted by Briton H.W. Tobin and given to Sherpas who achieved outstanding success or performed heroic deeds during a Himalayan expedition.
When we crawled out of the tent, it was just a miserable gale. No one else moved on the mountain that day. Hillary was in another valley, and he looked up at the mountain. He said, "No one will climb the mountain today." There was a big plume, as you can see in the picture, blowing off into Tibet. We couldn't see anything in Tibet. We walked side by side to the summit, the last section we did together.
His heroic deeds have carried beyond the mountaineering community. Since his childhood, Nepal's literacy rate for men has reached a mere 57%. For the women, it is even lower. Only 38 are literate out of 100. In a small but humanitarian gesture, he adopted off the streets of Kathmandu a daughter of a destitute beggar, promising the woman the girl would never be in need of an education, love, or opportunity.
You know, and this is Gombu, willing to do anything for a fellow human being.
Gombu was so funny and laughed so well and was such a neat personality. It was an instant love at first sight.
Gombu might be an exception among exceptional people.
That I don't know. When Gombu started, there were 6 instructors. All 5 are dead now. Gombu is the only one.